This is Golden Years, a roadmap to navigate retirement with Mark Cordner, the podcast.
BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager, and its CEO is Larry Fink. And he believes there's a retirement crisis in America with Social Security facing possible benefit cuts and many not saving enough on their own. I mean, that certainly sounds like a crisis. His answer says to rethink the traditional retirement age of 65 because essentially it's just outdated.
I believe for those who can and they find purpose in work, my gosh, work as long as you can. You think about the miracles of technology and how it transforms our lives and extends our life. Can we afford that longevity? And our entire retirement system was based on statistics that were created 50 years ago, whereby most Americans retired between 60 and 62 then, but most Americans then passed away at 67. And today, statistically, a couple 60 years old in good health, one of them is going to live over 90.
Wow. Yeah. So we know longevity is very much something to consider these days. Mark, what's your take on retiring at 65? And then no matter when they retire, are you planning for the next 30, 40, how many years out?
Well, we always model out to age 95 as a minimum. I prefer modeling to age 100 because Larry's exactly right there. The statistic we cite is that, for every married couple age 65, one of the two spouses is going to make it to 95. There's a 50% chance of that one spouse will make it to age 95. And so we really have to think differently. And he's right, partly when he says, we're a 50 years old model of retiring at 65. That's actually not true. In the 1890s, Otto von Bismarck in Germany established the first social insurance program, the predecessor to what we now call Social Security here in the United States. And what people don't realize is that when we started considering this in the early 1930s and established Social Security in 1935, we actually modeled it after what had come out of Prussia, modern-day Germany. They were the ones that introduced this age 65 at a time when people were actually living to age 62. And so Social Security was to kick in at age 65. People were dying at 62. There never was an expectation that Social Security was going to pay out for decades the way that it does now. At best, it was expected to pay out for 2 or 3 years. And so we're in a totally different situation now. We have about 3 workers for every one Social Security beneficiary. Eventually, that's going to get to 2 workers for every Social Security beneficiary. But at the time they established Social Security, there were 42. We're in a completely different demographic situation. We don't have the next generation in line to kind of pay this Ponzi scheme forward. There is no lockbox with a bunch of money. It's getting paid for out of current taxpayers' earnings. That's what's supporting Social Security. So I'm like Larry, I'm absolutely convinced there's going to be some changes to Social Security going forward, and most people should probably think about working longer. I'm seeing that more and more people are thinking towards age 70. This is really since COVID that there's kind of been a shift from age 65 to 70. Suddenly people leapfrog forward. I don't know what caused it entirely, but I think it's a good thing because, as they say, 70 is the new 40. There's a lot of 70-year-olds that are incredibly active, and there's really no argument for them to quit working because they get a lot of fulfillment from work. And we know from the statistics, it's overwhelmingly clear that people who stay engaged live longer and they are happier. So if it's working for some employer or if it's volunteering down at a local nonprofit, staying engaged is really the key. And economically speaking, most of our generation of the baby boomers have had enough setbacks that they probably wouldn't hurt to work a few years longer than they once thought. And they're going to live long enough to justify it. So I say, think longer. Don't be in a rush to get off the economic train. It's really hard to get back onto that fast-moving train once you've gotten off.
Exactly. But no matter where you are riding that train, down that train track, this is a conversation that you should have and need to be having sooner rather than later. And that goes for if you just can't do it anymore and you're done with the work world, or you're thinking, I'm going to work as long as I can, but I still need to make sure my ducks are in a row. That phone number, 702-996-4050, 702-996-4050. And again, that website, mygoldenyearsroadmap.com. It seems someone is always trying to stick you with some hidden fees. I mean, literally. The latest comes from the car industry. The Wall Street Journal reports that there's a so-called destination charge. Yes, that's real. Destination charges to cover the cost of shipping a new car or truck. And they have jumped as much as 50%. I mean, that could add thousands of dollars to that sticker price without the buyer even realizing it. Hidden fees are also something that lurk in retirement plans. So, Mark, how do you help stop them before they cause sticker shock?
Well, I don't know that we can stop fees because there's a cost of doing business, and that's just a reality of life. So fees in and of themselves are not bad. The question is, are you getting a benefit proportional to the fees that you're paying? Are you getting benefits for the fees? And that's where it gets a little tricky, because when we look, for example, at studies like the Wall Street Journal has done regarding 401k plans, they came out many years ago and said the average 401k fees are about 3.5% a year. Well, that's far more than most people realize. Most people are assuming they're about 1.5% or maybe half of that. And really, it's about 3 times that. So there's a number of different costs. I mean, you've got expense charges embedded in the mutual funds that are popular within 401k plans. You've got plan administration costs. Sometimes there's advisory fees if there's a financial advisor involved in working with the team. There's also the biggest cost is the trading cost, which don't have to be disclosed, because a lot of these funds are actively managed and they're constantly trading the holdings within the fund, and every time they trade, they generate a fee which gets passed on to the buyer. And why does this matter? Well, quite simply, a single 1% fee over time can have a dramatic reducing effect on the future value of the account. And so again, it's not that the fees are bad. The question is, are you getting benefits sufficient to justify the fees? And so come visit with us. If you don't know what you're paying, we can do an analysis for you of your portfolio and give you a much better idea of what's really happening. And if you need to look at alternatives, we can certainly show those to you as well. We don't work for any financial institution or insurance company or anything like that. We deal with those institutions, but we're working for the client, and we're finding the best opportunities for the client. So sometimes it does mean repositioning your money out of a particular kind of plan. I'm doing that right now with a client. Matter of fact, he's a friend from church who'd come to me looking to retire this next year. We're able to roll money out of his 401k while he's still in the service of his employer. He doesn't have to wait until he's fully retired. He's able to take control of his money prior to retirement, reposition the money into investments that are more appropriate for his goals, and do that in advance. So he's getting things lined up, as it were, so that when he does retire, it's off on a cruise, baby. Going to go have fun kind of thing, because the work has been done in advance. Let us show you some ideas for how to reposition things. 5 to 10 years prior is ideal, certainly 5 years prior, because there's a lot we can do to improve your situation with advanced planning. You don't want to call us a week after retirement. Well, I mean, we can still help you, but if you call us a week after retirement, we're going to be limited on some of the things we can do for you. And that, unfortunately, is often the case. People will jump out of work because they hit this magic age of 65, and they often didn't know what their pension amount was going to be prior to the retirement, or if there was a pension. It's amazing what some people will do. So don't jump off of that fast-moving train, as I call it, of the workforce before you're ready. Come visit with us, and let's get things lined up so when you do jump, you can actually fly and have a wonderful future.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, especially if you are 5 to 10 years away from retirement, especially if you're in that 5-year waiting time, guys. You do some advanced planning today to give yourself a better position moving forward, and doing something as we offer today, this complimentary portfolio analysis, allows you to kind of peel back those layers, discover some fees that you're paying that are unnecessary, and discover some different options where maybe the fees are lower and you get better return from that. I mean, you kind of get what you pay for, right? There's got to be value for the fee that you're paying. Do you have that value? Well, find out with this portfolio analysis. 702-996-4050. 702-996-4050. That website, of course, mygoldenyearsroadmap.com. You know, we talk a lot about the importance of building your regular paycheck here on the show. Well, JP Morgan found that if you have 60 to 80% of your income from guaranteed sources, you'll spend 44% more than retirees who don't. It reduces spending anxiety and supports higher standard of living. So what would those guaranteed sources be? And do your clients have that much in that bucket?
Well, absolutely. I mean, our clients very commonly do. I mean, you get guaranteed income from a variety of sources. Primarily for most people, it's Social Security. Sometimes there's still a pension. And then very popular now are these income annuities. Income annuities are contracts that you enter into with insurance companies where they will create a guaranteed stream of income for you, contractually guaranteed that you can't outlive it. And so you can set it up for a limited period of time, or more commonly, people set it up for their entire lifetime. And it's really with longevity in mind, because few of us know quite how long we're going to live, and most of us are going to live 5 or 10 years longer than we expect. And so the biggest concern people have is running out of money. That's the number one fear. The fear is not dying, it's running out of money and becoming dependent upon other people. And so we can entirely eliminate that problem with these income contracts. So they're not investments like mutual funds. They're actual insurance contracts, income contracts that contractually guarantee you the security you need. And I love that you highlighted this study, because there's a number of these studies that have come out now, and they're fascinating to me, because basically what they tell us are people who have guaranteed sources of income are happier. That's without question, they are happier. They have less stress in their life, and they live longer, which is a really interesting kind of unexpected outcome of this. It's probably a fact that they have less stress. I mean, think of your friends who have pensions, police officers and the like, who maybe had stressful lives, but now they have these pensions, and they tend to live a long time when they have a paycheck coming into the mailbox or drop it into the bank account automatically every month. I mean, it's this encouragement to spend more, as your study suggested, people spending 44% more. If you know that money's coming in on a contractual basis every future month of your life, then it actually liberates you to enjoy that money, which is a wonderful thing. I mean, people don't realize how significant that is. Particularly good savers. People who have been good savers often have a hard time transitioning into a spending mode in retirement. And so I'm working with a man right now where he actually initiated this with us. He came to one of our classes and said, hey, I have plenty of income, but I like this idea of kind of forcing myself to spend. And so what we're doing is we're creating a structured spending plan. He doesn't just dream about the vacations. Because the money's hitting the bank account, he actually spends it, which is, it's a wonderfully liberating thing for people to enjoy their money when that may not be the easy thing for some of us to do.
Investment advisory services offered through Golden Years Financial LLC, a registered investment advisory firm. Insurance is offered through Golden Years Insurance Services. These firms do not provide legal or tax advice. Consult your own legal and tax advisors before taking actions that may have tax implications. Investing in securities involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Insurance contracts principal protection is based on the claim-paying ability of the respective insurer. None of the information contained on this website shall constitute an offer to sell or solicit to buy a security or insurance product. The information and opinions contained on this site or requested from this site are provided by third parties believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. They are provided for informational purposes only and are not a solicitation to buy or sell any of the products mentioned. Any media logos and or trademarks contained herein are the property of their respective owners, and no endorsement by those owners of Mark Cordner, Golden Years Financial, or Golden Years Insurance is stated or implied.